Hi everybody. I am going to make a video today about a few tips and tricks for selling on Etsy. I use Etsy as my main platform for selling pre-mades. It's not my main source of revenue, considering I specialize in customs. That's what I focus on most. Um, but over my few years of selling pre-mades, I've definitely learned some things to do and things not to do as far as selling on Etsy. So hopefully I can save you from doing things you that may hold you back by telling you some tips that I've learned along the way. So the first thing we're going to talk about is listing products on Etsy, how to do it in a way where you're generating traffic to your Etsy shop. Considering there are thousands of shops up there, it's hard to get seen if you're not doing it right from the very beginning. Terms of service. And as well, I'm going to cover a widget called Etsy Mini, and that is how we integrate your Etsy listings into your blog listings. Um, there is a class coming up where I will discuss how to set up your blog on WordPress and how to do some design things here and there, how to upload your header and all that stuff. So you may want to refer back to this widget um, tutorial after you kind of get your head around how to put your blog up. But considering we're talking about Etsy now, it just makes kind of sense for me to jump into that just for a few minutes at the end of this. And as always, if you have questions, email me. So let's jump over to Etsy.com. And I have, as a side note, I have sold on other websites, other pre-made websites. But I do find that I have the most control over what happens with Etsy, and I make the most money with Etsy. The listings don't cost a lot to put up, it's 20 cents a piece. I have no shipping charges or anything like that. So, and this is where a lot of people go. I'm not worried about people seeing me or not seeing me. If you're going to go on some iStock site or some stock sites like iStock Photo and Shutterstock and all those things, um, just make sure that their terms of service fit your needs, and their application processes can kind of be a little daunting, but um, it for me it just makes sense to stay in one place, and Etsy is that place. So when we open our Etsy shop, we want to make sure that our shop graphic up here relates to our graphics that we're using on our blogs and our other branding. It doesn't have to be to look the same. I actually like giving my graphics different looks depending on where my clients go, but I do have the memorable character here, the Miss Pickle character that I use in everything. So she is memorable, but and my color palette mostly stays the same. I stick with the pinks and blues and greens and oranges. Um, Variations of those are fine. It's just the main things that stick in your head would be your image, main image, and your color palette. We also want to add a badge right here and try to pick an Etsy name that corresponds with your logo and your business branding name, obviously. If you can keep your name or your handle the same within each of your websites, like Miss Pickles Design Studio, this would have been perfect to have here, considering that's the title of my blog. But I'm finding that a lot of things on social medias, a lot of the handles are taken or they're limited with the space that I can type. So if you can find something that is close to what your logo is, choose that for your handle and the shop title. And add one of your pictures. It can be your personal picture, or it can be, of course, an avatar that you use to represent yourself. Sorry about the pausing. My sons are home today, sick. So if you hear a little background noise, that's what is going on. So Once you get your shop built, this is one of those things that I did in the very beginning, which was an uh-oh. I thought that since I wanted to open a shop, I should have a large amount of images and products to upload to it so it wasn't empty in the very beginning. And that was a good idea and a bad idea. Um, if you're going to open a shop, I really recommend that you have at least maybe 10 or so products. If you only have 10 products, then try to upload one or two a day and no more than that. What I did when I opened up was I opened my shop up maybe about a month before I really had a whole lot of product. So I had kind of a blank shop up here for a little while, which was not a smart thing to do because when people visit your shop, if it's not something that they like right away, they're not going to favorite it and they're not going to visit it again. So um, only open your shop when you're ready to add product. When you do add product, the thing I did, I had about 42 items in the beginning. I added all of the items all at once in one day. And I thought that that was a great thing to do at the time because I would have a nice plump shop with lots of things to choose from. But then I kind of spoke to some of my design mentors and some friends in the industry who had been selling on Etsy and they knew more about Etsy than I did at the time. And they said, oh, no, that's not going to do anything for your site traffic. So I sat here with 40 something products and absolutely no people to my feed because how Etsy works is a little similar to Google. You want to keep adding content, and it's like a little search engine in itself. What I mean with that is once you add one thing, Etsy will kind of find it and find your keywords associated with it that you put in there in the descriptions, and you will be added to their search results. Now, the more you add new products, the more Etsy is going to notice your new product and put your listing at the beginning of their searches. Considering there are so many products on here, if you want to be seen, you need to keep Etsy busy. And we do that by adding new products daily or at least every other day. If you don't have new products, you can renew your one of your listings, and that will jumpstart Etsy in finding you and adding you to search results. Also, that is something you really kind of have to focus on in the beginning to get people to your products in your site and your shop feed. Once you kind of get an established client base and a following, it's not so important. Now I'm at the point where I just renew after I get a sale and I don't worry about generating traffic or doing the searches. But if I was doing this full time, I would definitely stay on top of doing a listing or two every day to make sure that I was right in front of those search results. So there are Etsy ads also you can purchase to make your listings show up at the top of a search result, but I never do that. I kind of try to stay authentic, and if I deserve to get at the top of the search result, then so be it. If I don't, then I have to put a little work into it. But there is a shop on here. And this is Jessica Weeble illustration. She has a amazing Etsy shop, and it is hot and hopping. What she does, I have noticed, is that she is really good at keeping new listings posted. She will come in here and she's got a ton of sales. So at this point, she probably just renews what sells, but she's always got things adding every day. She's got new products adding, new products being renewed, and she's got a very large inventory. So if you're looking to sell on Etsy full-time as your main thing, and you're focusing on clip arts, then hop on over to this shop and take a look at what she's doing, because she is doing it right. She's got almost 2,000 items in here and she's rocking it. So yay, Jessica. Um, as for myself, like I said, this is just kind of a fun little side thing where I put my pre-mades, and this is not my focus. So I am over here at the 75 items thing, and yeah, I don't really feel the need to make it any bigger because of customs. So that's where I am in the scheme of things. But it is important when you start adding product that you are competitive with your prices. Do a little search for something similar to what you're going to be selling and see what other people are selling theirs for. Try to stay competitive with those things, even or a little below or a little above, if you feel um, comfortable with your value. Um, I would not go in here and sell clip art sets for 50 cents a piece, but I mean, you could. You're going to get a different kind of client base depending on your prices. So if you have higher prices on your clip art sets, or more normal prices like $5, you'll get the average everyday shoppers who are looking for $5 clip art sets. And usually they're stationary designers, and that's the client base you'll get. If you have listings for customs, of course, your customs prices. My customs prices are very high because of my waiting list. You will see some designers have their customs prices half of what I charge, maybe even below. But I personally can't charge less than that and be able to take all of the orders that come through. So that is why I price things the way I do. You will have to come in here in your listings and kind of figure out what's selling, what's not selling, and make sure that they're well organized in your shop sections. All of these things, you can find tutorials of how to set up all this stuff, but it's really pretty much, it's pretty black and white. Once you go in here and you start playing around with listings, you will see all of the options that you need to fill out. Okay, under add a listing, that's where all your options will be. Okay, next we're going to get into terms of service. I'm going to get my plug for my laptop, make sure she's got some juice, and that will be the next video. Hello again. Okay, terms of service time. Terms of service, or policies and terms, whatever you want to call it, terms and conditions. Those are the rules, guidelines that you work by and you expect your clients to work by as well. It's really important to have your terms of service listed somewhere, and to have terms of service that are clear and that you feel comfortable sticking to. Why do I think terms of service is so necessary? In the very beginning, when you start designing, you're going to be kind of fishing for clients, and you're pretty much going to want to probably take anybody who comes your way until you start rolling and rocking. So in the beginning, it is tempting to not have terms of service and just take on whoever, and be thankful for whatever clients you're getting. But with that comes a lot of possible issues. There's things that people expect you to do that maybe you're not including in your product listings or your services, but they feel entitled to it. They may contact you day and night, holidays, weekends. They may not pay you ahead of time. They may pay you after your project is complete, or they may decide that after you complete the project that they're not going to pay you at all. There are a lot of icky, sticky things that come along with not having clear terms of service, even with pre-mades. I'm going to get into the terms of service with selling pre-mades right now, and I will show you my terms of service page on my website that has more in-depth information that includes information on customs and a couple other things and licensing and things like that. But for Etsy, I find a super clear, easy way to do terms of service on Etsy is to make an infographic, and I include it as a picture in my product listing right here. If I go over to my shop link, let's see, view shop. Click on one of my characters. I don't have this on every picture yet because it's a relatively new thing I'm doing, so I do need to come in here and edit most of my other clip arts. But under here, you'll see that there's an extra image. People click on that image and they get the quick run through of what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do as far as use with my graphics. And also down here, I put a little plug for custom blog header illustrations, illustrated logos, exclusive character graphics. Please email me at my email. If you offer customs, really put this in there because customs is something that people may email you through your little conversation link in Etsy, and you may get questions if you do customs. I've gotten a ton of those. I try to direct everybody to my email account because it kind of gets a little disorganized when people are emailing me through Etsy. They're emailing me through whatever other site I'm doing, Creative Market. I like them all to know where to directly contact me. So I have all of my email addresses and messages in one place. And so that's why I include that there. I also include it underneath the information for my shop too, but I find that people see this a little better. So your terms of service can be anything that you want. This is just my personal okays. I don't mind people using my pre-mades for blog templates. There are most graphic illustrators who sell clip arts who do mind, and that is not allowed because I understand why. I understand that if someone uses a graphic, they want that graphic to be sold for every copy of the template or client project it's going to be used for. And if it's going to be used for more than one client, they expect that file to be purchased more than once. For me, I've been on the designer side of it too, so I feel that if I purchase a pre-made and it's a commercial use pre-made, that I should be able to use it on multiple commercial projects and not have to repurchase the file. It just makes sense in my head that way. So I don't have a problem with pre-made blog templates. I actually encourage designers to use my my characters on pre-made design templates because those designers become my clients. So if I'm getting a nice designer client and allowing them to use my image for multiple products, then that's fine. I like clients. Okay, so I don't scare people away with my terms of service. If you have a terms of service that is very, very picky and intimidating, and people are afraid that they may break one of your rules accidentally and get in trouble for it, they will not buy your product. So just try to be gentle with them and try to be understanding and flexible to an extent. Of course, you don't want people to abuse your copyrights, but I've discussed that before, my feelings on that as well. So I cater to, with this, I cater to honest clients who I want to work with and I respect, and that's kind of where I leave it. There is a section on here for you to add your super humongous terms of service information. If you're only using Etsy as your place to list products and information, you don't have a blog, then I highly recommend you add your policies to um, your Etsy shop because there's no real other place to put them. If you use a blog, you can always here's the policies section right here. If you have a blog, you could put your link to your policies page for your blog in the policies, and that's all I do here. If you hop over, if someone does click that on my Etsy shop and hop over to my website, let's see, policies and terms of service. This is the page that they will be taken to, and this is my big, boring, gigantic policies. You can come over here and look at it. Look at what I have. Turnaround times, returns, clients who go MIA. If people don't contact me for 10 days after my last attempt of contact, the project will be terminated. I had to put this in here because I've had clients who will book project with me and then we'll get started, and then 30 days later I still haven't heard from them and my client calendar is packed, and then all of a sudden they call me or they email me and they need it done the next day. So this is kind of one of those things. I put it in there to avoid issues. If people purchase from me, it is mandatory for them to review this and be okay with this. So everybody knows what to expect when starting a project. And it has the information here about copyrights and trademark, and that is most of the information that people need to pay attention to when purchasing clip arts. So anyway, it's their responsibility to review your terms of service. It's your responsibility to create some for them to review. So keep an eye out for what other people are listing. There's some great ideas that other designers include in their terms of service. Feel free to look at mine, like I said. And the infographic is something that's really nice. Okay, the Etsy Mini. If you're going to be using a blog, right here, there are two ways that you can do, well, two main ways that you can add Etsy to your blog. Currently, I have a button on my nav bar that is just a link to my Etsy shop. If it's clicked, it will open and it will bring you to my Etsy shop right there. The kind of the on-site way of selling, if you don't want to worry about a shopping cart with any other kind of merchant provider, Etsy has a really nice widget. Go to your shop, promote, go down to Etsy Mini, and you can build your own Etsy Mini. What this does is it takes your Etsy shop or part of it and it pops it onto a page on your blog, and you will see all of your images and your product listings and the prices and everything on the blog, and someone has the opportunity to purchase those while they're still on your blog. So that's a good way to keep people there. And it adds that extra element to your blog where people can just see your items right away without having to click on a link and go somewhere else. So in here, I've used the widget before, and I still think that I have my page. Let's see if I do. Sorry, my little boy is coughing up a storm right now. Sorry if you can hear that. He's sick on the couch. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Etsy and Facebook. I think I trashed it, but I'm not using it currently, but I have used it and I do like it. So I may restore. Whoop. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Little ones needed mama. Okay, so I'm gonna go, now that I've restored that page, I'm gonna, whoops. Let's see. Come and find my Etsy. Mini. Here we go. Okay, when you go into your Etsy Mini, you're going to choose what you want from these things. Items from my shop or items from my favorites. Do a thumbnail or a gallery. I think I chose gallery, and it gives you a preview down here of what's there and a code. Grab this code, bring it over to your blog, add a new page, call it Etsy Mini or whatever you want to call it, and then you're going to paste your code right here under the text tab, not the visual tab, the text tab. Paste your code. My code is this whole section right here. That's the code. And then if you go to the visual, you can type a little message there to let people know that that's your Etsy shop. And then you will publish it. And when it's done published, you can view the page. And this is what it looks like on your website. Okay? Or on your blog, I should say. I'm not sure if this works with Blogger. I'm pretty sure it would. I just don't, it's been ages since I've used Blogger. WordPress is the only dashboard that I currently use. So it definitely works for WordPress, and it looks really nice and clean. So that's a fun way to add your Etsy products to your blog. We'll get more into blog design later, but keep that in mind. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything that you need to know to get started with your shop. The number one thing if you could take anything from that would be to make sure you have at least 10 things completed before you start listing items, because you'll be able to work on more as you're adding, and your shop's not going to be empty for long. And when you first start out, like I said, only list 1 or 2 a day and get your traffic built up that way, and keep adding 1 or 2 a day and renewing, and keep people coming to your shop. That is all, my pretties. I hope that you found that helpful, and if you have questions, of course, email me. I am glad to help.